Eychimo here. In this video, we're taking a Connie and going and getting a rover and seeing how we can shove it in that cargo bay. You will notice that in this video there are a whole lot of bugs, things that need to be fixed. And this video actually took about 50 minutes to do because of all the bugs. Had to go back, redo, and I don't mean by leaving and re-logging in, just you have to get away from the consoles that don't work, get far enough away, use something else, so when you go back to the consoles they work again. It can be exciting, but I will say we did manage to accomplish what we set out to do, even though we took a whole lot longer to do it. And this actually was about my, I don't know, half a dozen times, maybe more, trying to get this done, to get this, to get a rover into a Constellation, because you'd either disconnect, you'd get a major bug, you'd get a crash. Still a lot of things to work on. Even if it is feature locked and it's in the game, does not mean it works all as advertised. But I'm sure it will. You'll notice here, this console, I could not get it working to open this lock. Just function key would not work. I finally got it to work by leaving the building for a few minutes and coming back in, and lo and behold, it started working. Here we had a case where we couldn't get the rover to spawn. Had to go in, it said it was there, would not spawn. Wasn't even possible. I finally reclaimed it on insurance, waited 2 minutes for it to for the insurance to recollect. And then all of a sudden we could retrieve it. Oh, no, we couldn't. We had to expedite it first. This would not reach. It says it's there, but it does not care. You have to back off the console. It wouldn't go to expedite. Sometimes just by backing off, resetting it, it will work again. We can expedite. Now we had to go play around for a couple minutes waiting on the expedite. Went out, ran around, checked things out, came back in. This time lock mechanisms worked just the way they were supposed to. We're back trying to spawn again, and this time we can actually spawn it. After we screwed around with the console a bit to get the console to work. As you can see, it was washed out. It does that, just back away, reset the console. You might have to do it a couple times to get it to work. Now we have the retrieve button.
Your ship has been delivered to the following landing pad.
The reason you don't land on the landing pads when you're spotting these things is because the ships you are trying to spawn, or the ground vehicles, will spawn on these pads, and if your ship's in the way, it just makes a mess. So when you land at these mining corps or hydroponic corps to spawn ships on these moons. Do not land on the pad because it will just give you grief. And if you're at nighttime like it is here, it is a pain in the ass to land because you can't see underneath of you. Why CIG decided to put landing lights on spacecrafts like you have on airplanes, I have no idea, because it's not like you go down a runway. But that's another issue altogether. You would think they'd light up the underneath of them so you could see what you were doing, especially when you're loading and unloading in the dark. The Ursa Rover, here we have it. Now it has its own set of problems. Major clipping issues. Getting into it can be a lot of fun. Getting into the front cabin can be fun. I spent 5 minutes trying to get the doors open because they bugged and they would not open. And you have to hit the markers just right here to get in the seats. Just a lot of bugs, a lot of clipping issues. I will say that the controls work just fine. A lot of work to be done yet before we go to live. This is only the second time I've actually driven a rover. Both times in the dark, so you're really not worth playing around with because the CIG has put big rocks everywhere that your headlights just don't see far enough in front of you that you can't see the rocks. The time you're moving at any speed, you're going to run smack into them. So rovers, it's really slow going at night just because the landscape. There's just no way to see where you're going. If I ever manage to hit one in daylight, I'll probably have a whole lot more fun with it. So we're going to try and load it into this Connie. I can get over to it. You'll notice the Connie's sitting in the dark, has no lights to speak of that shine on the ground to load it. Like I say, I just think poor planning on CIG's part. They act like you're flying an airplane on a runway. I would think it would have lights underneath of it so you could turn them on at night so you could actually see what you were doing. Maybe I'm just being nitpicky, but if they're going to put lights on them, why would you put runway lights on them? They're definitely not airplanes. And it's pitch dark under here, except I got the lights on the Rover on. And you'll notice as soon as I go up the ramp, I have a crime stat. Now, I'm sure that's something they're fixed, but for using my own ships, I'm a criminal. And this just barely fits in here. There's not a whole lot of room. In fact, after I get out, it'll pop up sideways because it says it doesn't fit. Although you can see it's actually in there. And see, we're sitting here level on the ground, and now see it just pops right up in the air, and now all of a sudden it won't fit. Few issues, little bugs. And when we get out of this, you'll find that it really pops up in the air. But I left it. I wasn't going to try to move it again. It can be a pain in the bottom trying to find the exit points on the Ursa. Half the time they're in one place, half the time they move them around. They just need an exit key for all this stuff instead of playing around with this. I don't know what I guess they want immersion, but it's more aggravating than it is immersion. And if you're aggravated, you're really not having a good time. As you see now, all of a sudden we're up on our side when we were level. More bugs. I am sure they'll get them all fixed. But as you can tell, it looks like we ran all the way up the side of the ramp, where maybe it shifted after we got an earthquake or something. Who knows? Okay, now we're gonna go. Could have got it over a little bit farther, but you know, it didn't show it wasn't level when I was in it. Not until I start to get out did it pop up. So I'm a bad driver. Shoot me. Now we'll go up, get up in here. I have noticed it's very easy to get off the side of this thing and get chopped in half as you go up. Something you'll be wanting to be careful about. Now we'll go back here and we will raise this thing up. I was kind of concerned it wouldn't close, but it did. It also dropped the rover down level. Now, once I start moving around, see, it just put it right where it needed to be. Not an issue. You'll notice the clipping again on the Ursa Rover. It clips really bad in this position when it's inside the Connie. A lot of graphical glitches. You can see all the way down the middle of it. Nothing there. So as I said, still a lot of work to be done in PTU to get ready for live. I wouldn't think they would leave these issues in, but what do I know? I'm not their quality control. But I am a criminal now because I parked my Rover in my Constellation. The irony. But there you have it. We're done.